welcome y'all to week 44. Yes, the big
Wow.
44, man. I know it sounds real big. The numbers 4 and 4 look real big. So we in week 44, man. Welcome to the Laboratory of Redemption. The topic of this month is what the hell? What the hell, man? Week 44. So guys, again, welcome y'all. My name is Demetrio. Michi, Demetrio Shikana Michi, aka Michi, Big Meech, aka the Big
Big
Rat,
meat.
aka I Ain't Fresh,
Big
aka
meat.
no, it's just Michi. It's just
Okay.
Michi. It's just
Okay.
Michi. So it's good to see y'all beautiful faces, man. Even the ones we can't see, man. We're welcome to have y'all here. I'm gonna go over a couple of things. We'll get this thing rolling. Of course, we want to go over our mission statement here. At 360, the mission statement, the mission of the 360 Adjuster Academy is to provide premier training and mentorship to new and existing independent insurance adjusters so that they can become a subject matter expert within the insurance adjuster industry. That is the mission statement. We also have a set of core principles here at 360. They are as follows. Faith. Faith is the firm belief in something for which there is no proof. You have complete trust. Integrity. Integrity is a firm adherence of a code of socially, moral, and artistic values. Incorruptibility. You're going to need that when you get out of here. You're going to need to have some good integrity.
Yes, sir.
Resilience. The ability to recover or from or adjust easily to misfortune or change. Definitely going to need that as well. So you want to thrive in spite of circumstances. And production. Production is the act or process of creating something of value, such as goods or services. And for us in this adjuster world, our production is closing claims.
Yes,
That is how
sir.
we produce. So our business motto here at 360 is to confine your vision within our vision. So again, I want to welcome everybody. We're speaking on what the hell, uh, man. For right now, what the hell for me personally is what the hell is going on. Everybody's getting deployed. There's a lot of hailstorms going on, and I'm sitting around and I'm waiting, I'm waiting to get deployed, and I'm, being patient. So it reminds me of this analogy that I came across before. And so if you're holding a cup of coffee and someone comes along and they bump your arm, or shake your arm, and it spills your coffee everywhere. What made you spill the coffee? Why did you spill the coffee? Anybody?
I mean, I was bumped, off
Right,
balance.
right. That's because somebody bumped you, right?
Because you weren't paying attention and didn't get out of the way.
So, why did you spill the coffee? Because somebody bumped you. All right, that's the wrong answer. You spilled the coffee. You spilled the coffee because coffee was in your cup. If you
Mm,
had tea in your cup, you would have spilled tea. Um,
okay.
Whatever is inside your cup is what will spill out. So, therefore, when life comes along and it shakes you, which will happen, whatever is inside you will come out.
Mm,
Um, it's easy to fake it until you get rattled. So we have to
mm-hmm.
ask ourselves, what's in my cup? When life gets tough, when it spills over, is it joy? Is it gratitude, peace, and humility? Is it anger?
I
Is it
like that.
bitterness? Victim mentality? You have quitting tendencies.
Hmm.
What's in your cup? So I say, today, let's work toward filling our cups with gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation, resilience,
I
positivity,
love that. Yes.
kindness, gentleness, and love for others. So let's work on filling our cups with that, man. So in times like this, when it gets rough, when we're asking ourselves, what the hell is going on? These are the things that's spilling out of our cups.
Mm.
So for me, that's what I want to take, and so without further ado, we're going to get this show started. I mean, we're going to have a really, really good call today, man. Our very own Kaivan is going to be blessing us and talking
Yes,
to us and
sir.
Yes, sir.
sharing
Yes,
with us,
sir.
man. I can't wait for that, man, because he always has some great stuff to say. So
Right.
we're gonna get on to that. But I want to before that, I want to remind you guys to get in there, man. And if you can, those Q&A forms in there, what is those contact and question forms that we'll drop in the chat. We'll drop those in the chat, guys. If you can fill those out, man. If you have any suggestions, you have any questions that you want, man, go ahead and shoot that over, and we'll get to that. Someone will definitely get to that. But without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring out Janae Big Money Aiken, and she'll go ahead and push this show forward. Miss Aiken, come on, hunt.
Hey guys. Hey
Big Money
guys.
Aiken.
Like Meech said, it's week 44. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I know I say this often, but I want to say thank you guys seriously for joining us every Sunday, sharing part of your time with us, helping us build this community has been great for I know the members of this community. Um, and we have some things that we're working on under the surface that we can't wait to share with you guys. So, as always, I really do appreciate you guys sharing a little bit of your time with us. As Meech said, the topic is what the hell, right? We know this past week there's been some pretty good storm activity. It has hit several states as far north as Michigan, Ohio, Tallahassee, Florida got hit with a tornado. I think that was the first time in like 20 years. You know what I mean? I think the toll of tornadoes this year is like over 600, something crazy that I was reading before. So we know that storm activity is higher than normal. Um, what that translates to me is that staffers are slowly drowning, and I do mean this. I'm right now. I'm in Ohio, and I have contractors that said, "Oh, I know you guys are drowning because they've been behind like 3, 4 weeks." So I feel like some of the bigger insurance carriers are trying their hardest not to hire us. I mean, because let's be honest, they give us a lot of money, right? So I know they're trying their hardest to wait to the last minute to get us. Now, deployments have been slowly coming out, but as Meech said, the name of the game right now is just patience, 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 patience. We know it's hard. Um, Remaining patient, remaining steadfast in this time, making sure to keep the faith has been important, right? Um, I wanted to say, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, but I wanted to say that I recently got an email from FEMA, so I know that they are gearing up for their busiest season, which is hurricane season, which is just around the corner. I would suggest for those who have little to no experience to definitely try to get with FEMA. I've mentioned FEMA a few times during our calls. I don't know if anyone remembers, but I got my first start with FEMA. FEMA pays great. They pay for everything, really. So I would highly suggest to get with them if you can. Um, that's really all I have for right now. I just hope that everybody could just keep the faith during this time. But let me not hold everyone up. We do have our guest speaker today, which is our very own Kaivan Hill. I'm very excited to see what he has to present to us. Before I call him on, I do want to remind everybody again about the feedback form. Even if you filled it out before, fill it out again. Let us know, hey, these are the topics I need you to cover. This is what I'm looking to hear. This is what I'm interested in. Please help us. We want to make sure that during this time when we're all not working just yet, that we can continue to give you guys valuable information that you can use once you get in the field. So again, without further ado, Mr. Kaivan Hill.
Hello,
Come on,
hello, hello.
yeah, let's see what we got for today.
Got some good information. I'm about to give y'all some gems in my own way, because and this is just the industry. One thing that we all can attest to is that, especially when you work under different managers and just with different firms and stuff like that, everyone has their own way of doing things. Like as an adjuster, there's no right way technically to do things. One manager might tell you, hey, this is the wrong way, this is the right way. And, the other manager might tell you the exact opposite. So
That's a fact.
what I'm about to tell y'all today is just like me absorbing, information from different managers from my experience and, things that I do, how I perceive, how I run my inspections, just tips that I have for you all. So, just take everything that I'm saying, and just make sure that, you have your own discernment and you take what you need to take from it and then you use it and, make it your own way. Don't feel like there's no right or wrong way in this industry, So,
That's a fact.
with that being said,
I think you might have muted yourself real quick, Kayvon.
oh, I did. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So, title, what the hell? That's our, our topic of the month. Going with the wind. I'm a creative person, so I like to do a little play on words like we did for the topic of the month. But I'm sure we've all heard "Going with the Wind." So this is "What the Hell, Going with the Wind" by Kaivan Quasi Hill. So the next slide for me, Juice. All right. So the calm before the storm. So one of our recent adjusted tips of the week that I put out for the marketing team was stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Now, that's valuable information because as an adjuster, you know, everything can hit you at once. Something could come like a deployment can come and hit you out of nowhere. We're being patient right now, and we're having faith and we're staying hopeful. But literally, we can go to sleep tonight and wake up in the morning and there's text messages, there's calls. So we've been telling everyone for the past few months to stay ready, get everything that you need to get taken care of at home, get that out the way right now. That way, when you get that call, you're not scrambling, you're not overwhelmed and anxious about what you need to do to get prepared to go to your next deployment. Now, specifically, what I'm about to hit on is when we're actually let's go to an imaginary place, which will soon be our reality. Let's imagine that we're all deployed right now. So this is the calm before the storm. What I consider to be, the night before an inspection. So like I stated in the first bullet point, always be prepared for your inspection before the day of. Now, the first thing that I would like to speak on, as you guys can see in the PowerPoint, is order your Eagle views for all of your claims as soon as your claims are dropped to you. Now, let me speak on what an Eagle view is. So when we inspect, homes in the field, when we're doing a property deployment, we have what we call Eagle views. Some firms, some carriers use different things. Some use hover, I believe that's what it's called. Some use near map. There's many websites and softwares that you can use to get the measurements of the roof and of the elevations of the home that you're inspecting. So specifically with State Farm, what I've only used in my experience as an adjuster is called Eagle View. Now, Eagle View will give you the squares on the roof, which is the exact measurements of the entire roof. It'll give you the exact measurements of a specific slope of a roof. It will give you the measurements of a ridge. It will give you the measurements of the gutters. Also, if you're fortunate, it'll do the roof and also to give you the elevations to tell you how tall the elevations are. It'll tell you the size of the windows. And basically, you guys get the point of what I'm trying to say is that it gives you the measurement. So, like I said, now we're imagining that we're deployed right now. When you first get to your deployment, we go through what we call onboarding. They will teach you how to set up, your UB keys. They'll help you, set up with near map. I mean, not near map. I'm sorry. The State Farm. I'm drawing a blank right now. What is it called? When
Like with software, they basically help you set up everything with your laptop and software.
Right, but specifically, I'm talking about when we see where our claims are. The state
ECS?
mapping tool, the
The
mapping
mapping
tool.
tool.
Yeah, so the mapping tool. So they'll set you up with your mapping tool, which I'll speak on that in a second in one of my later points. But pretty much when we get there and they drop the claims to you, and you have to call and you have to do your QFC, which is your quality first contact, or if you're that's if you're the claim owner, you have to make that first call. They do have someone that does reach out to the policyholders, the insurers, to get some basic information about the claim before they do get to the adjuster. But typically we make that quality first contact, which we just get information about the claim, facts of loss, if there was any, interior damage, any personal, property that was damaged. So order your Eagle views as soon as you get your claims. Now, this is very important because when you're inspecting, you can wake up in the morning and say you don't have your Eagle view. How are you going to get that claim closed? If you have to write a total roof replacement, we need those measurements so we can know the exact measurements of what we're writing for, what we're going to pay for. So this is very, very important. And I'm speaking from experience because there's been times where, I started, it's like, it's a lot that's thrown at you at once when you first get to a deployment, we have to make calls. You have to get your living situation together. So I'm saying to focus on getting those Eagle views, because it's very important, because you don't want to not have your Eagle view the morning of, the day of, because you can go pull up to a roof and it's a 12 pitch. Now,
I was about
for
to
those of
say,
you,
not to cut you off, but that's one of the most important things for me about getting the Eagle view the night before is that I can see what the pitch is. You know what I mean? I can show up and say, okay, this is a 6, or this is a 10, or this is a 14. You just don't know. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so that's very important, because you don't know if you're gonna need rope and harness equipment. You don't know if you're gonna need a GOAT, a Ridge Pro. Now, I'm saying a lot of things that you guys might not be familiar with, but you need to know what you're pulling up to. It's been times where I didn't order that Eagle view and I pulled up to an inspection and I couldn't even inspect it because I didn't have my equipment. I didn't have the proper things. So uh saying all that to say, having that Eagle view ordered as soon as you get your claims will help you to be better prepared for, when you get to that the actual inspection. So my bullet point under there is stating that make sure that you look at them and check the pitch of the roof you're inspecting before arriving, which we just spoke about. And my next point is to use your mapping tool to make sure that your inspections are in close proximity of each other so that you won't have far travel times in between inspections. Now, this is very important because, not saying that, all of us are at that specific point where we're closing everything in the driveway. That is the ultimate goal, to be closing your claims in the driveway. All of us are not fortunate like Travis to be super adjusted, and get those 8
not
inspections.
Not yet.
Right. So, but to better prepare yourself and benefit you in a better way, make sure you use that mapping tool. Don't just get your claims and start calling people and scheduling inspections. You might schedule one inspection at 8 a.m. and then you schedule your next one at 10:30, and your next inspection is an hour and a half away. It is very valuable to use that mapping tool because you would prefer to schedule your inspections in the same neighborhood or perhaps like 5 to 10 minutes away. That way you have more time to focus on completing the process of closing out that claim versus having to focus on, oh man, I got to drive an hour and a half away. That's very important. And it saves you money, time, and gas, so that's a very important, preparation, tactic to use. So next, I said make sure that you have your camera battery is on the charger before you go to bed, and also make sure that you grab it before you leave for your inspections. Now, like I said, I'm telling you guys a lot of things from experience. It's been plenty of times where like I've, like I said, we get overwhelmed with work. It's very easy to fall asleep and you haven't charged your camera in 3 days, and then you get to an inspection and you turn your camera on, you're trying to take a picture, and then you see that red battery button at the top, and you can't even complete your inspection. Now you have to go back to the car. With State Farm, they do provide us with, I'm not sure what it's called, but you can plug up like the socket. What is it called, Janae? The outlet. There's like an outlet charger in the car where you can charge your cameras. Now, that sometimes I've forgotten that device at home, and I'm like, oh man, I'll have to go drive to my nearest Starbucks or McDonald's to go charge my camera. So it's very important to always remember, to do these things. That's very important to make sure that your camera is charged. You don't want to waste time having to go and sit in the car and try to charge your camera when you could be knocking out that inspection and getting it done. And then it's also very unprofessional to pull up to an inspection and you knock on the door, you talk to the policyholder, hey, I'm about to start my inspection. Perhaps you have a contractor or a public adjuster that's there with you, and you're, oh, give me a moment. I gotta go charge my camera. And it takes some time to charge that camera, you know? So just be prepared with that. Go ahead, Janae. You want to say something? We can't hear you. You're muted.
I bet. They did switch it over to like batteries now, but
Okay.
they suck. So just like you said, just the other day I was up on a roof and it randomly died. I had to get down, go to my car. Thank the Lord I packed extra batteries in my bag. So now with that vest, I just keep a whole 4-pack in my vest. So if I get stuck up there, I'm changing them right on site.
Oh yeah. So see, I'm a little outdated. You know, last time I worked, we had the reusable camera battery. So now it's actual batteries that okay, so that's beneficial. Well, the tip now is to make sure that you have an extra pack of batteries. You know, like I said, you don't want to deal with having a camera that's not charged or that's not, you know, available for use. That looks very unprofessional. And I've been there a couple of times before, just forgetting to charge it. And also, like I said, make sure you grab your camera before you leave in the morning. You know, when you're sitting there and you're writing your estimates, you're uploading your photos. If you bring it back home, sometimes you might leave your camera on the sofa. It might fall in the crack. Like, just make sure before you walk out that door in the morning, you checking for everything that you need to have. You need to make. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because that's my next point. But have more than one piece of chalk prepared. You know, there's been plenty of times where I've gotten up and, you know, I went to an inspection and I look in my bag or in my trunk, and I have a little tiny piece of chalk. Now, if for those of you who are unfamiliar with, you know, what we do when we're doing a roof inspection, we have to chalk up everything. We have to chalk up the damages. If it's a wind damaged shingle, we have to, you know, draw a line through it. If it's hail, they typically want us to either put a mark next to it or circle it to, you know, when you're doing your overviews, that way you can clearly observe the damage that, you know, was done to the roof. So always make sure, what I recommend is just have a big box of chalk. If you can find a box that has 100 pieces in it, do that. Keep a lot of chalk, you know, because there's also been times I put up to an inspection. I'm like, oh man, I don't have any chalk. I've already knocked on the door, talked to the insured, and I have to go run to Family Dollar really quick and go get some chalk. Again, you know, that was rookie mistakes that I made initially. So before you guys go, just make sure, and also do not get chalk that's used on a chalkboard at school. I made that mistake as well. The little skinny pieces of chalk. You can't write on a roof with those skinny pieces of chalk. The first thing that's going to happen is going to snap in half. So just make sure that you get sidewalk.
Real quick, Kaivan, I'm sorry to interrupt a little bit on that. When you go on these roofs, take multiple pieces of chalk. You will drop one. It will roll up off into the gutters.
Indeed.
Don't chase it and do not try to keep it from rolling down. Let that thing go down. You mess around and be following that chalk. Just make sure you have 2 or 3 pieces and just take out your other one.
Right, indeed. Yeah, that's very important to say, because there's been plenty of times where I've dropped my chalk off the roof and I got to get off the roof, go back to my car. Again, this is just, like I said, the calm before the storm, just being prepared, you know. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. You don't want to be on the roof and have one piece of chalk and have to get all the way off of a 10-pitch roof that you just had to Spider-Man crawl up the roof to get to the ridge, and you drop your chalk. Trust me, these are things that you do not want to deal with. Keep an extra piece of chalk. And another tip that I can give you all, when I was working in Chicago, there was a contractor that I did an inspection with. He put me on game with something I'm telling y'all, this is a gem right here. So you guys know how gloves, like the gloves everyone was wearing, like the plastic latex gloves that we wore when COVID came out, doctors wear, stuff like that. So you can go and get those gloves and cut the fingers off of the glove, right? Put your chalk in there. Or actually, I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. So there's actually a specific type of like latex like glove just for one finger, where you could just pull it over one finger.
Right.
So the contractor put me on game with that. He put his chalk in there, and then he put another one like over the other side. Because what you'll realize is that with the chalk, if you put it in your pocket, you put it in a vest, you have it on your hand, you could get chalk all over you. And this is just, I'm a neat person, so I don't. When we're working, you don't really care about getting dirty, but this is just useful. That way you don't get chalk in your car, all in your, your cup holder and stuff like that. That's a very essential thing to do as well. And when he put me on that, ever since then, I've used the single finger gloves, and I put them in there, and you don't even have to take it off. You could just start writing with it, and it's very useful. So that's something. I wish I had a picture of what I'm talking about, but you guys get the idea of what I'm saying. So my next point from Calm Before the Storm is to have your scope sheets printed out, and I specifically said front and back because we love the trees, right? We don't want to use too much paper. When you print, they provide us with printers on deployments, and they give you the option to where you could print it out on the front, put the paper back in, print it on the back. You print it out, okay. And I'll address that right now too, Coach K. Joy. So a scope sheet it's a piece of paper that specifically I'm talking about with State Farm specifically right now. They give us a piece of paper, and it has each thing that could be damaged potentially on a roof. Oh, I'm sorry, on a
roof
there's
or
a
elevation.
roof. Right, it's a roof scope sheet, and then there's a elevation scope sheet. So for the roof, it'll have if it's 3-tab or laminate shingles, which those are two different type of shingles. Also, it'll have if the gutter is damaged on the elevation scope sheet, or there's just a list of different things that could potentially be damaged. And when you go to your inspection, you notice that they are damaged, they want us to circle it, and then they want us to write the measurements of it. So the scope sheet pretty much, when you go out and you do your inspection, you're circling everything that's damaged, you're giving the exact measurements of it, because you always want to have a claim to the point to where if you get released today, another adjuster could come along and pick up right where you left off. That scope sheet basically writes the estimate for you. I could give Janae my scope sheets, and she could look at it and go and completely, write the estimate in that case.
Absolutely.
So I don't see when I've been on deployments, like I said, they give us the equipment. So I don't have photos of like my old scope sheets and stuff. But actually I do have my folder at home in my garage. So I will just next week, just to, give you guys an example of what a scope sheet is. I'll provide a picture for us to just throw it out there potentially at the beginning of the meeting, just so you guys can see, because I didn't think about having that for you. But also I put to have your claim number written at the top of your scope sheet as well.
I think I
Now,
could put one in the chat. I'm gonna try to put one in the chat right now, but go ahead.
okay, yeah, that's perfect. So what I'm saying, as far as like writing the claim number at the top of the scope sheet and having it placed in your clipboard, these are just all things that eliminates using extra time to prepare for an inspection. You have to write your claim number at the top of the scope sheet. You have to write the insurer's name. You have to write your name at the top of the scope sheet. But one thing that I began to do later, once I got more experience, I started to have my claim numbers, my name, the insurer's name, everything written at the top of the scope sheet the night before the inspection, and having it in my clipboard. That way I don't have to wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I don't have any scope sheets. Oh, now I have to go take time to print out scope sheets. Now I have to when I get to the inspection, I'm on the roof and I'm having to write out all of this information. It's so much easier when you have all of this prepared. And that way, when you're on the roof, all you're doing is just circling. You're just writing in, measurements. And also, we have to have our eagle views at the attached to our scope sheet as well. That's what they want. So, like I said, having those eagle views, that's why it's very important to order them beforehand. And another thing that I did mention is that sometimes it takes a couple of days for an eagle view to come back. That's not something you could just go and order and it's just gonna come back immediately. It can happen like that, but sometimes I've had to wait like 3 or 4 days for an eagle view. And if you have an inspection tomorrow that you need the measurements for, you guys get where I'm going with that. you want to get that claim closed the same day. So if you waiting 2 extra days after your inspection for an Eagle view, you can't get that claim closed, and that just looks bad on your part. So just being prepared with having your Eagle views attached to your scope sheet, and that, like I said, that way you just eliminate time when you're on that roof. You just get to circle it, write your measurements, and then boom, once you get off the roof, you have your scope sheets ready to just be, take pictures of it and then write your estimate and continue with the process of closing out the claim. And my bullet point under that was to look over the facts of laws. Yes, order the walls report as well. When you do your when you order your Eagle views, which these are all things that you guys will get a better understanding of once you go on a deployment, because we're just saying a lot of things that might sound unfamiliar right now, but the walls report is basically the Eagle view, but like I said, of the elevations. So like I was stating, look over the facts of laws and the submitted photos prior to the inspection, because you want to have a general idea of what you're going out there and what you're going to see. The facts of laws is what I stated before. When you first get to your deployment, State Farm, I forgot what they are called. The people that call and just once the people submit the claim and they call them and just state, oh, what happened? And sometimes the insurers will just give them some basic information and they'll say, tornado came through, knocked down large oak tree on roof, completely destroyed garage. It'll be, basic information. And that's just like facts of laws. So when we do our quality first contact, we're calling to basically confirm that information, the facts of laws, get a more detailed explanation for ourselves. And, we update that information in our QFC. We put exactly what happens. So this is just like I stated, this is all just preparation. You don't want to pull up to an inspection.
And good practice.
And great practice. You don't want to pull up to an inspection and it was a large oak tree that split a house in half, and you schedule your next inspection an hour and a half after this inspection. And you go to this house and there's 6 structures, 4 of them are damaged, you know what I'm saying, completely destroyed. That inspection is going to take you a long time. So looking over those facts of laws and looking at the submitted photos prior to the inspection, it just gives you awareness and it gives you an idea of what you're going out there to see. It's just all preparation. The name of the game as an adjuster is just to like I said, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Be prepared. It'll help you in the long run with just being a good adjuster.
I just wanted to add something to that. If you're in an area that this is not like a random storm or this is not their first storm in years, you want to make sure that you check the previous history claims. This is so important because
right.
If management has to keep checking it for you, they're going to get on you like, hey, are you checking the priors? Because you'll see sometimes I'll get out there and I'll see, oh yeah, that's the same damage that I took the same photo as the previous adjuster took 3 or 4 or 5 years ago of the same exact damage. You don't want to end up giving somebody payment for something that they've already been paid for.
Right, exactly, and that's something else that I'm gonna to address later on too when we're talking about hell. You definitely need to know the previous claims that were filed, and because a lot of people, and what we have to understand is that what we do, we have the opportunity to really help someone out, to bless them. That's why
Absolutely.
when we make payments, we withhold depreciation, because sometimes everyone, life is hard. Like, people have financial problems and stuff. Sometimes people will try to file a claim for something that happened years ago that they never did. But it's like, specifically when we go out to inspect, we're going to inspect for that date of loss. So it's been times I went to go out and inspect a home, and I talked to and look, my mind, like, a lot of things coming to me right now. So somewhere like Chicago, when there's like hailstorms and stuff like that, there's like what they call storm chasers. Like, contractors, they'll ride through neighborhoods and look at people's roofs, and they'll be like, oh, I'm missing shingle. Let me go knock on this person's door and tell them, hey, did you know you have hail damage on your roof? Did you know that you have some shingles missing? Let's file a insurance claim with your insurance carrier. And sometimes they'll just file it for any random date. But that's not how this works. We're inspecting for a specific claim, a specific date. So that's very important to know what date of loss it is. That way you're not paying for old damage. And that's why I'm gonna get more to that in the next coming slides. So next slide, Juice. Now this is the storm preparation kit. Now I have a few photos. I have 4 photos up here. What we have in the top left is what I was speaking about, the box of chalk. I recommend that you get that size box of chalk. Just have more than enough. That way you don't even have to worry.
Just keep it in your trunk.
Just keep it in your trunk. I still have chalk. I haven't worked in 10 months, and I still have chalk in my garage right now. And I always have multiple pieces of chalk because like I said, you just want to be prepared. And what we have in the bottom left, that's a tool belt. Now that's very important to have. I remember Michi mentioned in a previous meeting you could use a vest. Didn't you say that, Michi?
Yeah, I use a vest.
Yeah, I use a vest, man. It's just easier for me. Janae,
you don't have to worry about it holding your pants down, like.
Right.
Like for me, like when you stepping off the ladder, you don't got to do that extra hip flex to make sure that your belt clears it,
so you don't get snagged,
and all of that stuff and get snagged on. It's just anything that can keep my hands free when I'm getting on and off that ladder. I don't have to hold. I clip my clipboard to it. I put it in a pocket so that I can be hands free as much as I can. So that helps with that. The vest,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So get a vest, a tool belt, whatever works for you. I agree with recommending a vest because you want your hands to be as free as possible when you're inspecting. We make so much money because it's like what is it called? Like hazard pay. Like we do a very like dangerous job, like we get on these tall steep roofs, and like we mentioned with a piece of chalk falling, sometimes you might be like, oh, try to grab it. You could potentially fall off the roof. So this is all just precautionary measures that you want to take just to make things easy on yourself. Work smarter, not harder. So get a vest. That way you can have your chalk right here in the pocket. You can have your tape measure, these are all things that I have for the storm preparation kit. The box of chalk. I recommend getting a lanyard because this is what I do. They give us lanyards, and then sometimes lanyards have like these detachable bottoms to them. That way I would just clip that detachable bottom into my camera, and I have my camera on my lanyard. That way my camera's around my neck. So if I'm going up the ladder, I'm on the roof, I don't have to worry about taking a picture and then I'm trying to chalk something up and I got to put my camera in my pocket. Now I got a whole bunch of stuff in my pocket. And then when you have pants and vests with a whole lot of pockets and stuff, you could be up there, on a steep roof and you trying to find certain stuff. It's just like I said, make everything easy on you. I had that lanyard. That way when I'm going up my ladder and I gotta get, my eave measurement and my gutter measurement, I just, I got my tape measure in my hand and I could put it there and then I could just get my camera from right here off of my neck and just take my picture and then just let it fall, just let the camera fall. It's on my lanyard. So that's why I put having a lanyard on there. I mentioned the tool belt. A clipboard is very important because in my past deployments, our managers want us to have clipboards specifically to put the image that I have in the top right corner, our pitch gauge on them. I'm not sure if y'all's managers have told y'all this too as well, Michi, Janae, everyone else that, that's worked before, that they want us to put the pitch gauge on top of a clipboard to get, a more accurate pitch. So that we use the clipboard for that reason specifically. And then also it helps you to be able to write on your scope sheets while you're inspecting, on the roof, the elevations, whatever. So make sure you have a clipboard. And then also, this is something that I mentioned in the previous meeting as well, is to have erasable red ink pens, because with State Farm, they want us to write in red ink on our scope sheets. So I get erasable red ink pens because if I make a mistake, State Farm doesn't really like when you have scratch outs. They want everything to be, you know what I'm saying, clean. They don't want scratch outs, and say you get, like I said, say you get released and then someone else gets your claim. They're looking at your scope sheets. They could barely understand what's going on because you have a bunch of scribbled, X, Y, and Z. But get that erasable red ink pen. That way, if you make a mistake, you don't have to go get a whole new scope sheet and start over. Just erase it, and it just it's way easier for you to have those red ink pens, the erasable ones. And then also, without having the bottom right corner is the LED flashlight. Now, this is very important when we're inspecting for hell because, man, when I tell you, if you don't have a flashlight, you could go out to an inspection in the daytime and you could be looking at a downspout or a gutter, and you could even chalk it up, and you'll be like, man, I don't really see nothing. It's very easy. The eyes can easily perceive you, but I'm telling you, it's been times where you flash that flashlight on there, and it's just like magic. It's like, voila, you see a bunch of hits all over the downspout, all over the aluminum siding. It's like that flashlight is crucial, like very crucial. Now, make sure that you get I recommend this type of flashlight in the bottom right corner specifically because you need a flashlight that shines really hard. Don't go get a little cheap flashlight and think you're about to flash it in the daytime and you're gonna see something. No, I did that. I made that mistake. I'm teaching y'all from my own mistakes. Go ahead, get you this type of flashlight in the bottom right corner, those powerful ones, and it's a lifesaver. You won't go out there and misjudge, if it's hell or not, and then it just looks bad on you if you go out there and say it's no hell, and a contractor comes back and submit photos with the flashlight, and it's hell all over the downspout and all of the soft metals and stuff. So that's very important. And
I'm sorry.
Just
Let me
to add,
piggyback
oh,
on
go
that,
ahead.
Kaivan. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For me, another thing about the flashlight for me, it helps to stop marking up people's stuff. You don't ain't got to mark up the downspouts. You don't have to mark it up no more. You shine your light on there, and then now they ain't got all of this chalk all over the place, all over the elevations. When you're on their siding, you take a picture with that.
Right.
You ain't got to go through and mark it, and now they got chalk all over their house and everything while you're doing that. So that's another added benefit of having a flashlight.
Right, definitely, because we do chalk typically to see if it's hell, and I always felt kind of worried about that, just leaving somebody's house and it's just chalk all over their downspout and their gutters. So that's a great point, Michi. But like I stated, next the tape measure, that's very important. We need that. We have to measure the shingle exposure, which it basically is the measurement of the shingle. Sometimes it's 5 inches, sometimes it's 5 5/8 of an inch. So we need to know the specific shingle measurement. You need to know the gutter measurements. You just need a tape measure. That's very important. And also, like we mentioned in a previous meeting, get the laser tape measure as well, because that's very important for interior damage. It's been plenty of times where I was just unprepared when did an interior inspection, and I didn't have my laser tape measure, and I had to sit there and measure each
That sounds
wall.
so painful.
It's very painful because it's like prehistoric way of measuring the interior of a house. It's like just go get that laser tape measure. It's a quick little click the button and boop, it's gonna give you the measurements. You don't have to sit there and then God forbid you don't have a laser tape measure and you go out there with your actual tape measure and your tape measure is not even long enough to reach from one wall to the other side of the room. So now you have to extend it fully and leave your shoe or something right there to show you where your tape measure into there, and then you have to go and use the rest of it to get the rest of the dimensions of the room. Trust me, y'all. Just get that laser tape measure, and it's a lifesaver. And the pitch gauge, which that measures the pitch of the roof, which is in the top right there. That's the exact
Must
brand.
have.
Yeah, that's the one that I have specifically right there.
Me
And
too.
then also, I put sunglasses. So I got put onto this when I was in working in Chicago for 7 months. Like a contractor was like, man, look through these glasses on one inspection. And because I didn't see hell at first. We had the flashlight and everything. I'm like, man, I still don't think I see it. Put on those sunglasses. Because sometimes the sun out there shining bright and the light could definitely, like I said, your eyes can perceive you easily. So get you
Especially if
some
it's a
sunglasses.
darker colored shingle. It's hard to see on the darker colored shingle.
Right. So those sunglasses, that's another, good thing to have. It helps you to see, damage better. And then last on my preparation kit is bottles of water. Stay hydrated, y'all. Like I feel like, I was an athlete growing up. I live a pretty active lifestyle. And I've never really been a type of person where like I could be outside in the heat. Like I grew up in the South, New Orleans and Houston. So it's like I've been outside in the heat all my life. And I never just really felt like, ooh, like man, I'm about to pass out. Like, but when you get on those roofs and you up there on a 2-story house and that sun, it's like it just feels like the heat is not even going to the rest of the roof. It's like you taking all of it, like literally. So
It's
it's easy
easily
to
10 to 15 degrees hotter up there. Easily.
easily. So have your bottle of water, in your car. Like just stay hydrated. We gotta make sure that we up there to make this money, but we gotta take care of us too. And that's something that I will also mention later on the other slides as well. But stay hydrated. Make sure that you eat. Don't get so wrapped up in work that you're not taking care of your body. Because if we don't take care of our body will shut down on us. It's been times where I went home and I'm like, man, I'm about to write these 3 claims up and my body shut down because I'm dehydrated. I'm feeling sick. You can't perform well on the job if you're not in the best condition that you could possibly be in. So that's why that's on my preparation kit as well.
I'm sorry,
Next slide, please.
Kayvon. One thing
Yeah.
I didn't see on your preparation kit that I think for me is important,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the summertime coming up, man, is to get a set or two of gloves. When you get on those
Oh, yeah.
roofs, when you get on those roofs, man, when those shingles are baking in 120 degrees all day for hours and hours, and you got to get up there, and sometimes you got to use your hands to get up there. And when you touch it, it's you barely can't touch it. You need
Yeah.
gloves. So
You need
gloves
them.
are very, very important for me. I don't know if it's because
It
I
is,
got tender hands
especially
or
in the
something,
summer.
maybe but yeah, get some gloves,
No,
man. I
especially in
would
the
Yeah.
summertime. That's huge, huge.
Yeah,
yeah,
Because you're
because
leaning
those things,
over. Sometimes I'm already like, you can't even like
yeah.
truly lean. Sometimes you
You
can't even
can't.
sit because it's so hot.
Yeah,
right,
man.
right. So you touch those
It'll
shingles,
blister
sometimes
your
you get
hand.
blisters. You get blisters on your
It'll
hand.
blister
Yes,
your
sir.
hand.
If you don't
Yeah.
have it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, man. So
And
yeah, definitely get you a couple of pieces, get your kind, maybe with some
Yeah,
fingers out
get you a
on
couple.
I was
one
about to
or
say that.
something.
Get
Yeah,
your fingers out, though.
get you a
Yeah.
couple with some fingers out, but you're gonna need one with fingers in because you're gonna have. So you may have to cut off a finger or two and leave
Right.
some, but just to
Maybe
make
these
it
2
easy.
fingers.
Right,
That way
right,
you
right,
can
right.
Right.
take a picture, right?
Do your
Whatever.
stuff.
That's a good idea.
Exactly.
That's a very
So
good
man,
idea.
but definitely get you some gloves too.
Okay. So and then also this is the storm landfall. This and I'll be pretty brief with this one. It's call the policyholder when you're en route to your inspection and give a heads up. That's just, common courtesy. If you're going to inspect someone's house at 8 in the morning, um, you you need to just give them a call and let them know, hey, I'm en route. That's just, give them a heads up. Upon arrival, make sure that you knock on the door to greet the insured. What I typically do is once I get to the house, I take my front overview and then I walk up to the door. And or I take my picture of the mailbox to do the risk address verification. Overview, walk up to the door, knock, hey, how you doing? I'm Kaivan Hill. I'm your adjuster. I'm here to inspect your home today. Um, I'm about to get started on my inspection. If you have any questions or you need anything from me, just let me know. But I'm going to begin on your roof and walking around your backyard, X, Y, and Z. And sometimes people they want to be outside and be nosy and watch you while you're doing your inspection. If they want to do that, okay, fine. If not, they say, hey, do you need me? No, no, ma'am, it's fine. No, sir, it's fine. I'll knock it out myself. But knock on the door, greet them, introduce yourself, and let them know you're going to begin your inspection. When dealing with public adjusters and contractors, keep it friendly, brief, and straight to the point. These guys they will easily try to manipulate you and try to coerce you to do something. I've had guys come out and be friendly and oh yeah, man, you from New Orleans and try to build that rapport and then at
Mm-hmm.
the end they just try to how long you been doing this for? Never tell especially for my new adjusters. Never tell a contractor or public adjuster, oh, I just started doing this. Me, I had 1 month of experience and I'm telling people, oh, I've been doing this for about 10 years. If I started doing this 10 years ago, I was 17
It's
when I started
crazy.
doing this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't care, but it's like they don't need to know everything about you. Just keep it brief, and if they get to what you're thinking about this hit right here, do you think that's hell? And you don't have to tell them anything. You could just tell them politely and kindly. Just tell them, hey, I'm gonna do my inspection. You go ahead and mark up everything that you want to mark up. I'll take photos of it. And even though we're the ones that make the decisions on the claim and we determine it, and of course, if it's a total roof replacement, you do have to send it up for review. Sometimes it depends on which manager. But I always tell them, yeah, I'm gonna take pictures of what you marking off as damage, especially if I know that it's not damaged. I'll take pictures of it and I'll send it up to management for review, and I'll get back to it and let you know. So
And just an extra added tip. When you're talking to them up there, like he said, don't tell them too much. You say everything you need to say once you get off that ladder and you're back on the ground. That's when you tell them straight up. Otherwise, you just tell them fluff until you get back down.
I'm telling you,
and that's when you hit them with it. Because there's horror stories. There's already been some people here that told me, hey, contractors have moved people ladders while they're still up there. It's crazy.
And left people on the roof, and that's illegal, I believe.
That's gonna be the last. That's gonna be the end of my adjuster career if that happens. That's it. I'm gonna move to just training only at that point. No more adjusting.
That's why you don't say anything until you get down. Until you get down.
No.
And I'm telling you, because if you get up there and you get to debating if this is hell or if this is wind damage and stuff with the adjuster, a 20 to 25-minute inspection could turn to an hour and 45 minutes inspection because you up there having too much conversations about what you believe. That's why I said just keep it brief, keep it friendly, and straight to the point.
They will twist your words. They will take your words. They will take your words and twist your words and say, no, he said that he's going to pay for this. We're gonna do this. So yeah, like he said, keep it very brief. And you can, not to say you ain't got to be rude or anything like that. Be friendly, but they are not your friends up there, man. They can try to get in your pocket, get on your good side, but they're not your friends.
Because the minute you leave, they're talking to the policyholders. The minute you leave,
trust me, I've had somebody. I was on the phone with a contractor. He thought he hung up the phone with me. He thought he hung up the phone, and as soon as he put it down, and him and the insurer got to talk, he was talking bad about me. I was like, dude, he was talking real bad about me. And so, man, it happened. So, man, he's telling you some really good stuff, man. Be careful of what you talk about with these contractors, man.
Yeah, and also, I know this happened to me in Indiana. I caught a contractor recording me on his phone. Now we on the roof, so he tried to catch his balance, and I could see his phone. It was on the camera.
Oh, wow.
He was recording me. Yeah, so be careful because what we do, you could be taken to court. Make sure you're careful. Don't say too much. Don't never promise, oh yeah, this is totally gonna be a total roof replacement. Absolutely. Don't promise anything in this career, in this industry.
Even if you know that the roof is totaled, I always say it'll be my recommendation that you get a full roof replacement. But of course, management has to overlook everything.
Right.
They told me to stop saying
Can
that.
I pause on it? Yeah, I was gonna say let's pause on that real quick. I got two things real quick. I know we need to get this wrapped up, but two things on that. One, I'd be careful on shooting it to management because then what happens is people tend to take that power from Janae and they're like, oh well, if Janae ain't making decisions, I want to talk to whoever the man is above, man or woman is above her. But I understand why people do it because it's like, hey, I've done my review, I've submitted it. And so that may be a way you shift that kind of because otherwise people sometimes will just blow your managers up. So just a heads up, you may want to say, I'm going to review everything, get everything submitted, and we'll let you know once the review is complete or something of that nature. I know that gets tough with timing. The other thing I want to mention in an effort of time, because I know we got to get out of here, but the second thing I wanted to mention was safety. Safety is always first. So make sure you're hearing a lot of them say you want to make sure, you're off the roof first, different things, watching, different stuff, not going after chalk out down the roof, right? It's because safety is first. There was something else, darn, I was going to say, y'all said it triggered something in my head and then I totally dropped it. So I'll wait till until it circles back. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't remember what it was.
All right, you good. I'm going to get through it really quickly. I got a little bit left, so I'm going to run through it. But also, just to give another heads up, I did make the mistake of telling a policyholder and a PA that I was going to buy a roof because initially, and this is something that's really bad, y'all. When we do like wind and hail damage on the roof, we do a wind repair versus replace worksheet. Typically, where you count the amount of shingles and it determines if the percentage is a high enough percentage to do a total roof replacement. So initially, when I first started doing those, when I first started off, I was doing it completely wrong. So I paid for a couple of roofs that I shouldn't have paid for. Don't tell nobody, y'all. But I was going up there on some roofs and I'm like, man, this is total roof replacement. I told the people that, and they almost was about to take me to court. So make sure, like I said, just don't overpromise. Yeah. So next, once the inspection is completed, knock on the door, give the insured a summary of your findings, then notify them that you're going to complete the remaining steps of the claim, then give them the final results once the claim is ready to be closed. That's pretty self-explanatory. As soon as you close the claim with the insured, make sure, now this is if you listen to anything that I'm saying right now, this is very important. Call the agent's office. You have to keep the agent in the loop because the agent really needs to be your best friend. Like when I worked up there in Chicago, Indiana for 7 months, I was going to get lunch with agents. I had a relationship with them. They were inviting me to, different things. I had to go to like parties and stuff with them, but like, I built up that rapport with them. I stop by the office sometimes, drop off some donuts or something because the agents, they could make you look like a rock star to the sectional manager of State Farm. It's been times where I was in sectional meetings and stuff with people that's not even working for the specific firm that I work for, and they shout me out. So that looks really good. I feel like that kept me deployed for a long time. So like I said, just make sure that you build that relationship with the agent. Call them and hey, tell them everything. The policyholder was upset that I told him I wasn't going to be able to pay for the roof. It was a loss below deductible because these people, they will try to get you taken out of there. Like they will lie on you. They'll twist your words. As long as you tell that agent and you communicated with them and you got everything documented, like I literally write essays in my file notes. I put every detail, the emotion, how they felt, like everything.
As you should.
Way, yeah, it's not anything that try to come back and then they try to, because, you could get NFA'd as an adjuster. Like no further assignments. Like it's a lot of things that could go wrong. So just cover yourself by making sure that you could communicate with the agent and document everything. So and that was my last point on that one. So we go to the next slide, Juice. If it's not in the notes, it did not happen. That's facts. So inspection tips, figure out a specific order and direction in which you want to take all of your photos and stick to it throughout your entire adjuster career. Take your photos of each slope on the roof in the same order as your elevations, or you will be confused when labeling photos. And I put my example. I take my photos and complete my inspection in the order of front, right, rear, left. Now, this is important because you don't want to go to an inspection like how I did when I first started off and I'm just walking around, take a picture of the front, then I go to the left, then I go back to the front, and I go to the rear, and I'm going back, I'm trying to label my photos, and I'm like, man, is this the front or this the right? Like, stick to a specific order and don't stray away from that ever. So if you want to follow how I do it, front, right, rear, left. Best way to do it. You want to make your photos like whoever's looking at the photos on the computer in the file, like they're at the inspection. Just make it simple. Front, right, rear, left. And also do this on the roof as well. Now, some roofs, it has like different parts to it. It could be a part that's facing the front slope right here, and then they have a front slope in the back and another front slope on the side. So what I do is I take a picture of the front slope, multiple, like all of them, then I do the right slopes, plural, then the rear, then left. So make sure that you're not doing the front, then the right, then the rear on one part of the roof, and then you go do the front. No, just do front on every part of the roof, then do your right, then you do your rear, then your left. It just helps you when you labeling your photos, and you just have a better understanding of what you're looking at. And the collateral damage will tell the entire story of what to expect before getting on the roof. If you're walking around looking at those elevations and you don't see any spatter, you don't see any hits, the downspouts clean, the window wraps clean, you should know not to expect any hail damage on the roof. Like it's pretty self-explanatory because the soft metals will definitely show damage way before a shingle that's built to, withhold impact. So everything is gonna tell you the story before you even get on the roof. That's what I was told numerous times when I first started this, adjusting. So don't let a contractor get on that roof with you, and the downspouts clean. He like, man, this hell damage right here, and they trying to make something look like hell. No, sir. If this was hell damage, those gutters would have been torn up. Downspouts would have been torn up. So that's what I put in that point right there. Hell will not damage shingles, which are created and made to withstand impact, and not damage soft metals such as downspouts, gutter, window wraps, vents, and HVAC units. And last point is, if a PA or contractor is claiming that a shingle is discontinued and you are in a matching state, be sure to take a shingle sample to send off for RLS, which is our roofing locator services. Some states, if one shingle could be damaged, and if that shingle is discontinued, you have to pay for that total roof to get replaced, because you can't put a shingle up there that doesn't match the rest of the roof. So to save yourself time of having to go drive way back an hour and a half away to go pick up a shingle sample, just ask the public adjuster or the contract. Well, I don't bring it up. I let them bring it up. But if they say, oh yeah, I think this shingle is discontinued, all right, come on, let's pull a sample and just take it home with you. That way you have it. You can send it off for the roofing locator services. They run a report. They'll tell you which shingle it is, the color, the brand, everything. And then that way you will know if you need to write for a total roof. And then last point was the same for the siding. Sometimes siding is discontinued as well. So if they say that, oh, I don't think this siding is being made anymore, just take that sample so you can send it off. Okay, next slide.
I would just add really quickly, when you take in samples, you have to make sure that it's damaged. Like if you go up on the roof and there's no damage to the shingles and they try to give you a sample, you're not taking a sample.
Yeah,
if you go around the elevations and you see damage on one elevation and they say, oh, I don't think this is made, make sure they take it from that elevation specifically, because then you get yourself in a predicament if they do some other stuff, which they would do purposely.
Right.
So just be aware of that.
Another sneaky thing they like to do is when they take a shingle sample, they're going to try to tarp it. And then they're going to put a big piece of tarp and then have to pin the tarp down. And that's going to damage all the shingles that they have to pin it down through. So as you work, you'll get put on game. You'll know, like, oh, they're trying to pull this sample so they could damage the rest of these shingles, and then boom, that could possibly get that whole slope have to be replaced, because a lot of the shingles got damaged from the tarping. And contractors will over tarp, like excessively tarp one shingle, and they put in a big tarp on it. So, but this slide is hell yes. Hail falls and clusters consistently throughout the entire area of the risk. And there will not be damage on one area of one slope facing the same direction and not any other part of that same slope. So I'm saying that because contractors and public adjusters will try to make damage be there that's not there. They'll tell you, oh, look down here, and say that, oh, this is hell right here, but there's no hell on the rest of the slope. So I'm saying that to say that hell, you gonna know when it's hell. It's gonna be everywhere on that slope. Now, hell does fall directional, so sometimes it could have damaged the front slopes and not have gotten the back. It depends, but don't be fooled by that. So the ridge is the most highest and most pointiest part of the entire roof. Now, this is something that a manager told me when I first started. If hell is present, the ridge is gonna be hit up. That's the highest, most pointiest part. So you're not gonna see hell damage to a slope and not see hell damage to the ridge. You know what I'm saying? So that's a tip that I like to use. Because if I see something that could potentially look like it's hell on a slope, and then I go to the ridge and it's clean, it kind of like helps me like have better judgment on if it's hell or not. And then also, this is very important, check for oxidation on soft metals by swiping your finger across them and checking to see if you notice a white chalky substance on your finger. Now, this is what we mentioned earlier about like old damage. So sometimes, hell will have came through 2 years ago and someone to get their house fixed. So it'll be, hell hits on the roof, no, I'm sorry, on the siding, the elevations and stuff, and it's old damage. And you could tell that it's old damage by you wipe your finger and you get that white chalky, the oxidation that's on there, you know that it's old. because what I was told, and I don't know, somebody can fact check me, but like oxidation, like when the hell hits, it takes the oxidation off. The spatter takes it off, so it makes
Cleans
it
it.
clear. Now, that oxidation apparently it won't come back for months. Now that's what a manager told me. Oxidation is not gonna just come back a week after the hell hit. So that's why it helps you to have a better understanding of if that hell is newer or if it's older. So and my next one is check satellite disk for spatter and hail damage. And that's like DirecTV, certain cable companies that have those the satellite disc on the roof. Check those for damage. That, like Janae mentioned in a previous meeting, that's her go-to as well, right, Janae?
Always. Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
So check that satellite disc for that hail damage, and you'll be able to see the spatter on there. And also, I like to look at the HVAC as well because you can see hits in the old school outside AC units. You can see those hits in there as well. So
what a manager also told me is to, when you check the spatter, put your pen, or even if you have your tape measure, put it up to measure the size of the spatter. Because there'll be times when I get on the roof, the spatter is very small and the hits are big, and you're just like, this is not adding up.
Right. So check that. And I did have a quick video right here. It was just showing a guy like shining a flashlight on a downspout, but we are short for time, so we could just go ahead and go to the next slide.
Yes,
and then this is winded up, but winded up. Little play on words. Wind damage will be much more noticeable than hail damage. Now that's my personal opinion. If you go out and it was like a tornado and there's a bunch of wind damage, you're gonna see a falling gutter. You're gonna see shingles on the ground. It's gonna be pretty obvious that strong winds was present. So I just wanted to, get that heads up that when you go out, you shouldn't really have to be out there like, is this wind damage when it comes to like elevations, like downspouts being falling and stuff like that. It'll be pretty obvious to you, in my opinion. And then also when checking for wind damage shingles, check for straight line creases across the top of the shingle. Now I put an example at the bottom. As you can see, that full shingle, it's like detached, because when wind comes out and it is blowing against those shingles and it's flapping, the way that it creases is just from constant flapping from the wind. So it will crease at the top. Now, it's possible that you could have like a crease at the bottom, like something like that from like wind just blowing, and maybe it was glued down pretty good, and something like that. But for the most part, this is what a wind damage shingle is gonna look like. Now, if you see just like a little crack going across the middle or something, that's called thermal cracking. So you have to be very careful with just looking for it at the top. And then also, like I stated in this last point, is if an insured is claiming wind damage to have been done to a roof as a result of a tree falling onto it, make sure that you ask for photo evidence of the tree being on the roof prior to going out to inspect for documentation purposes. So just make sure that if they say, hey, I had a tree on my roof, just tell them, can you please take pictures of it? And, before y'all get that tree removed and send it in, because, sometimes managers will tell you we're not paying for it if we don't have proof. So just make sure that you get that done. And go ahead to the last slide, Juice. And final tips, buy a planner. Planner helps out a lot. That way you can write down your inspections. You can write down things that you need to get done. Set reminders on your phone to remind you to move tasks and check your voicemails. I still get my reminders on my phone. Like I said, I've been working 10 months. Check those voicemails. Have those reminders set. And like I stated, stay hydrated. Be sure to make some time for yourself and your mental health. That's very important. Don't overwhelm yourself too much. If you need a mental break, take that break. Because like I said, you can't perform better at work if your self is not good. And then also, if it can be done in that moment, get it done immediately and do not put it off for later. If it's a big claim and it's like I gotta write up this, get it done. Just knock it out. You don't want to have tasks piled up. And then also, do not feel bad for not having times for things that will distract you from being the best adjuster that you can possibly be. Sometimes we can't just talk on the phone all day, every day, to family members or whoever else it may be. You have to focus. So don't feel bad about that. We're out here trying to change our lives and progress in life. And then also communicate everything with the agent, like I stated, and build rapport with them, because they can make or break you. Even stop by to bring them lunch, a small gift, etc. They'll potentially email / call your manager or sectional manager to sing your praises. That I know that from experiences. I got a lot of, good reviews from agents, and that just made me look really good to management and to, the company that I work for. And then also never feel like you're alone because we're all stressed out and we're going through the same thing. So never feel like, you drowning by yourself. Just always remember that the things that you thought were sent to drown you actually taught you how to swim. So that's what I have for you all. That's my tips. And that's, how I view everything as an adjuster from my point of view. So that's all, folks. Hope y'all enjoy.
Great.
Great
That
job.
Great.
Great job.
That was
Can I add two things before we finish this out, Janae and Meets, real quick? Great job, Kaivan. Two things I want to add real quick. That link that you weren't able to show for for the hell, I think, can you drop that in the chat so people that want to see that can still check it out if you don't mind? And then the second thing, you said something about people videoing you. Something I just came out of a CAT meeting maybe 3 weeks ago with a carrier. That issue that's come up with being videoed. Make sure you check with the carrier you're working for. Some of them are starting to have hard lines in the sand about whether they're allowing contractors, PAs, policyholders being able to video. Some of them are going as far as putting things in policies that exclude it. Some of them are also drawing some hard lines in the sand. So whoever you end up working for, you may want to find out, if you don't hear it in the war room, if you don't hear it in the training, it's a great question to ask. Some of it may be state by state, depending on what's been put in place. But I'm just telling y'all now, like less than a month ago, I was in a CAP planning meeting with one particular group that talked about a problem with that they had over the last few years, and now they've gotten it, embedded in some policy language. They've got legislature looking into it and stuff. So just be mindful. If you haven't heard about it, if it hasn't come up, some of y'all are newer going on to deployments. You may not know to ask. Maybe if you have somebody there a little more tenured, you may want to find out in those trainings, they don't mention it. You may want to ask in case you run into that, because it's definitely an interesting twist. So back over to Meet or Janae. I'm sorry, I'm not sure which one of y'all at this point, but thank you for letting me add that. Just wanted to hit on that.
Yeah.
Great job, Kaivan.
That's the last thing I want to say. Ask questions. Like, if you don't know something, don't, we're kind of thrown to the wolves initially. We don't have as much experience as we possibly should have. So don't make mistakes like how I mentioned, about paying for something that I potentially wasn't supposed to. It was just lack of knowledge. So just make sure you ask questions, you confirm things with managers beforehand, because you will make mistakes, but just it's always best to ask questions. So
that's good stuff.
And you can always use us.
Right. You have opportunity.
One little tip I want to add on to that, as far as with the agent, when you're getting your claims and they dump these claims on you, each claim is going to have the name of their agent. If you're in a specific a specific area, you're going to come across the same agent with some different claims. While you're gathering up and you're putting them together, as far as how you're going to search this area and whatever, get the ones that have the same agent. You may have 5 or 6, and get in contact with that agency even before you start and say, hey guys, I got about 5 or 6 of your people. I'm going to be in contact with you guys a lot. Here's my number. Get in contact and get friends with those people. And again, like you said, man, that'll get them on your side. That way they'll get in contact with you when they have a problem. They'll fight for you and stuff like that nature. But that's one way of starting it out when you're getting started, to sort of pay attention to that as well when you're getting your claims together. Look at the name of the agency. And again, you're going to have several with the same agency. Group those together and get in contact with them. Travis goes as far as, man, he brings donuts. He's super adjusted. So he
goes a long way though.
Yeah, but it goes a long way. If you start doing stuff like that, man, you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna be out extended. Your deployment's gonna get extended for those reasons alone, because it does go a long way. Kaivan, thank you for that, man. That was great
Kaivan.
I mean, there was a lot of information, man. So I do, suggest you guys go back and take a look at this one, because I'm sure there's some stuff, man, that you may miss that you could pick out on, man. So we do appreciate you guys, man, for staying with us on this Mother's Day weekend. Right. Happy Mother's Day again to all of our mothers that we have here. All of the mothers, and some of you mothers are on here didn't actually bear the child, but you can still be a mother to a child, even if you didn't. So that's a huge responsibility. Right. And so I know some of you guys out there are mothers to children that
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it.
So happy Mother's Day to you with that, man. So again, man, we want to encourage you guys to go fill out those feedback forms, those
Yes,
Q&A
sir.
forms. You got any suggestions, anything that you want to look, anything that any information that you want to us to present to you, man, go ahead, man. We're open to all of those suggestions. Man, please join us next week for week 45, man. We're going to have a really, really great
Let's
speaker, man.
go.
This dude is coming in hot. He's like, man, this dude, I
Right.
don't know, he's a specialty, man. He's like an alien, you know what I'm saying? Mr. I Ain't Fresh gonna be speaking next week. No, it's just gonna be me, man. I'm gonna be the speaker next week, man. So I cannot wait to get this out to you guys. We're gonna just keep on going on, man. I'm gonna piggyback on what Kaivan and Janae and getting this information out to you guys so we can get ready, man. As you see, deployments are happening. We are getting deployed. So get out there, get those clothes ready, pack those bags, get those cars, get everything ready, like everybody been saying, man. Get prepared to get out there, because like Kayvon said, man, you can wake up to a phone call tomorrow asking, can you be
Yep.
somewhere in 2 days? So are you ready for that? Are you ready for
Yeah.
that? So I know I am. And I done
I'm
told him.
ready.
I texted and called and told him I'm ready. So
I know that's right.
try to let him know, you know what I mean? So, but in the meantime, I'm gonna work on what I can. Get on these certifications, this exactament. Just do what I can, man. So to make sure that when I do this call, get this call, that I am ready to go, man. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us on this 44. Come back on the 45 next week. And again,
Yes,
you'll have me as your humble guest speaker. We'll continue this education, man. And man, thank you guys. Have a wonderful, 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 wonderful rest of this beautiful Sunday evening. And we'll see you guys next time.